Welcome to the webinar, the Be the Best Preschool Piano Teacher in Town webinar. This is actually the second time we're doing this. We did it one time a couple weeks ago and a lot of people wanted to see it again. So I decided just to run the whole thing again from the beginning. So welcome. I'm so glad that you're all here today to learn about being preschool teachers. Okay, just a little housekeeping to start off with. This webinar is going to take about 30 minutes, and at the end we'll have questions and answers. So if you can type your questions and answers at the end into the Q&A. If you have comments, just type them into the sidebar and I'll try to answer them as we go. And I want to thank my husband, Stuart Hall, for moderating this webinar and helping me with it. Like I said, my name is Doreen Hall. Some of you know me as the Paloma Piano Lady. My website is palomapiano.com, and a lot of you are members, and there's music on there and different things that I write. Just to give you a little bit of my bio, my biggest thing that I love about working with preschoolers is just that I think they're so cute. And I did spend 16 years working in a Montessori classroom, and that's where I get a lot of my ideas for activities, and a lot of my ideas for working with preschoolers come from that. I have 5 years of Suzuki piano training, and I also have 5 sons of my own and 3 adorable grandkids, and you can see the rest of my bio there. So what is the best piano teacher in town? When you say you're the best preschool piano teacher in town, what does that mean for you? And what that means is that you are the go-to teacher in your town or in your studio that is well known for teaching preschool students. People know that you just love this type of teaching and they love to go to you. You have a full studio, you have premium rates because you're a great teacher and you can charge premium rates for your studio, and parents love you. They refer you. Your students can't wait to get to their lessons every week. They really, really enjoyed being there. And the best part about it is that you feel confident and you are having a lot of fun teaching preschoolers, because it really can be fun teaching them. In this webinar, we're going to learn about why teaching preschoolers is really awesome for your studio, the best practices and the best ways to teach preschoolers, and then at the end I'm going to show you my 3 favorite go-to preschool activities that I use in my studio every day. And then at the end we'll talk a little bit about Paloma Piano. So here are the top 5 reasons why you want to incorporate teaching preschoolers into your studio. 1, kids who start young turn into great older students. And I've seen this again and again. I've been teaching for over 30 years. Once I got to 30 years, I'm stopping counting. So when it's 40 years, I don't even know how many years it is, but that's it. So once I got to 30 years, that was it. But they turn into great older students. I had, for example, a student that started at 4. She just wanted to play because her brothers were playing. Well, she ended up studying with me for 14 years. She now is at Columbia University, and she plays for all the shows there, even though she's majoring in medicine. But they really do well. Teaching preschoolers is really good for your studio business. That's a large percentage of the market. You don't want to leave that money on the table. You don't want to turn away those 3, 4, and 5-year-olds when they come to your studio. You want to take them because they're going to become great students down the road and really help your bottom line. Preschoolers practice, and this is a fact. My preschool students actually practice more than a lot of my older students. For one thing, their parents are really excited. A lot of them, this is the first activity. You know, when you have a baby, you just can't wait to have dreams for them. And this, for a lot of my parents, this is the first big activity that their kids are involved in, piano lessons. And so they're really willing to listen, and they're really willing to get on board with the 5-10 minutes a day practicing that you have them doing. And that just becomes a part of their life as they get older. And because of this, the kids who start really young tend to continue because they just learn how to play well. I had another student from Israel, and he started at 3.5, and his mother would say she wanted him to start young because by the time he's 12, he'll probably quit, but he'll want to quit, but he'll already be really good. And the fact is that by the time he was 12, he's 23 now, he was really good at the piano. And because of that, he didn't want to quit, because you don't want to quit something that you're really good at. And the biggest reason is that teaching preschoolers is a lot of fun. If you know what to do with them, it really is a blast. You have a really good time. This is one of my preschool students where I teach, and he likes to bring his little Batman characters in there. So we do that, and he tells me all kinds of stories, and we just have a really good time. He's right there circling his notes and keys and working in a workbook, but we do lots of other off-the-bench type work as well. The key, though, to working with preschool students is that you must have off the bench activities. And by off the bench, it's not necessarily that they need to get off the bench, but you need multi-sensory activities. Preschoolers learn with a multi-sensory approach. You need to do different things. So sometimes they are sitting on the bench doing an activity, and sometimes they're actually getting off the bench and doing the activity. They need these things to be able to build a focus throughout that lesson. And also, it's just really difficult for anybody that young to sit on a bench and work out of a method book for 30 minutes. So this is my bag. These are the things I take with me. And when you walk in with all sorts of activities and you know exactly what you're doing, you will feel great. Your students love the activities, and so do their parents. You come in and you have everything ready and you have everything set out and you know what you're going to do. And the parents say, oh, I just love this teacher. They really keep my child engaged. So what I do is I actually made everything in this bag for less than $25. And I'm not looking for tons and tons of different things. I have about 15 activities that I use over and over again in different ways. And each of them has a specific goal. They're well-planned activities, and they're leading to strong musical literacy and strong musicianship. And that's what we're looking for. And at palomapiano.com, there is a book about 20 pages that has all the activities, how to make and use all the activities that I do with my preschool students. So that's for Platinum members. We'll talk a little bit about that later. So if you're interested in that, you can look at that also. So why do I have a teenager here? Just thinking about our overall goals for the future with our preschool students, we're looking forward to them developing strong oral skills. That is, to have a good ear, to have excellent technique at the piano, to have a good understanding of music, to understand theory, how chords are made, to be able to improvise their music, memorize their music, and to be good music readers and sight readers. I've found over all of my years of teaching and in doing a lot of research that being able to read music well is really a key for continuing, because when you can read well, it's very much more fun to practice and play. There are some students who really struggle with this, and then you want to concentrate more on the oral skills. But the goal is to have them up and playing, because when they can play, it's fun. And when it's fun, they want to continue and they become great students. A little while back, I made a list of all the things that I feel like preschoolers can learn. And it's really important to have specific skills and a rubric with which to measure them. You want to be able to point out to parents or the studio owners that you work at, or wherever it is that you're working, that this is what my preschoolers are learning. They're not just here playing games and having fun. We are doing learning. And when you educate parents about that, it becomes easier to have parents that are happy and they realize that their children are learning, even though they might not be learning as quickly as older counterparts learn. So preschool skills, we're talking about 3 through 5 year olds. The first one is lesson etiquette, just being able to greet the teacher and bringing their books in and remembering to take their stuff when they leave. Proper posture. Some people use a foot bench and an adjustable bench. I used to, but I don't, because I think it's easier for the kids to get on and off the bench with just the regular bench. They can learn fingering numbers, and that's really challenging for them, just to learn which finger is which and which hand is which. The music alphabet, we practice it forwards and backwards. They can learn the clefs, the keys. This builds their concentration. They can learn about stories of great composers. They can learn how to play along with you, duet style, and keep a beat. The first song in the primer at Paloma Piano is just a one-note song, C, 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 and they just keep that steady beat, and you play a little melody that goes with them. The first 2 songs are like that, and I want to write some more like that too. They can learn how to sing simple melodies and sing back pitches. They can learn solfege syllables. They can learn how to count and clap some basic rhythm. They can talk about the definition of music. I like the organized sound definition. We talk about what's an organized sound, what's not an organized sound. They can learn how to identify high, medium, and low sounds on the keyboards. They can learn basic note values. Of course, they can learn the names of the notes and keys as well. They can learn about timbre of different instruments, dynamics, loud and soft, tempo, fast and slow, and you can also use the metronome to do some games and things with this. You can guide families on listening to great music. If you go to palomapiano.com right now, I recently made these holiday listening calendars, and they look like this, and there is a listening suggestion for every day, November and December. They're kind of fall themed. I know it's not fall everywhere, and some holiday themed, Hanukkah and Christmas, and They can listen every day. The videos are posted at pianoparents.net, which is my other blog. But they can learn how to participate in a recital, which is really great because they're little, they're not nervous. So this is the perfect time to start them. If you're 12 and that's your first recital, like I was, you're really nervous. But if you've been doing this since you're 3 and 4 years old, it just becomes old hat. You get really used to it. And they can also learn basic improvisation. So now we're going to talk about active learning for preschool students, and that means best practices for preschool piano students. There's best practices when you're a teacher, you learn best practices for math students and best practices for reading students, but we're going to talk about best practices for preschool students. And these are things that you're going to look for when you're trying to create your own lessons and your own activities. It doesn't have to be somebody else's activities. There's activities everywhere that you can create, and when you're thinking about what your students' needs are, a lot of times an activity will just come out of that. And for this, I'm talking about pre-reading students. My preschool students are not yet in a book where they're learning reading. We're going to transition them into that, and that's going to be a future webinar. But when you're that young, we're not looking at actually learning to read music notation yet. So the first thing is we want to teach our students to listen to themselves when they're playing or when they're singing, to listen to you, both when you're giving directions and also when you're playing. Play for them a lot at the lessons. They love to hear you play. They're amazed that you can play so well, and it's very inspiring to them. But teach them to listen. Did I play loud? Did I play soft? I'll give an example of a legato and a detached musical line. Did you hear the difference between that? What was the difference? And then maybe have them imitate it. They can also just listen to their environment around them. What's organized sound? The birds in the trees. Listen, open your ears and listen to all the sounds around you. Listen to the sounds that you hear when you're in an elevator or when the coffee maker goes off, and see if you can sing it back. So that just gives them that listening and that musical awareness around them. And it's fun things that you can send home and have them also do with their parents. And also they can listen to great music. You can guide parents on this. At palomapiano.com, we have some blog posts about this, but my sister blog, pianoparents.net, which you can find all about that also, has lots of musical videos on there and suggestions and music history stuff for parents to do with kids. So we want to build that musical environment, which study and research shows really begins in the womb. Before children are even born, before babies are born, they actually recognize music. They found this out, but years ago they did a study that newborns would respond to the soap opera themes when they would hear the music, because that's what their moms, like my mom, was watching back in the day when they were pregnant, and they do that. And it's always been said that Mozart was not born into a family of plumbers. He was born into a family of musicians, and that's part of what made him such a musical person, and his sister too. The next thing is sing. Singing was the first instrument. Everyone sings. You're never too young to sing. My granddaughter is 1 year old. She sings all the time. I don't know what she's singing about, but she is singing. So we sing everything, all the words to the songs. We sing back pitches. We make up songs. It really helps the students with their overall ear and their musicality. A lot of times they can sing something, da 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 da, but they can't yet play it. But that kind of helps that to incorporate the music into themselves when they can sing something and then try to imitate it and work on their motor skills so that they can play legato, or they can play willow tree, and start to be able to get that music into them. And you don't have to be a vocalist. You're a musician. You can sing on key. That's all that's necessary. They're going to be following your voice. And this one is move, and that's a really fun and important one, which is pretty obvious to a lot of people. But this little guy, he's not going to sit on the bench the whole time. It's really important to just read them. Sometimes when you see them getting fidgety, you can say, Jason, let's get off the bench. What can you do? You can put some music on. You can play some music, and they can move around to it like they do at Dalcro's Eurythmic classes or in Kinder Music. You can have them swing their arms, clap, march around. My preschoolers have parents in the lesson most of the time, and a lot of times their parents will even participate in this, and that really helps incorporate rhythm and beat into their being, into their body, and into their ear. And last but not least is touch. So we're not using all the senses. We're not using taste and smell, hopefully not smell, but we also want them to be able to pick up things and manipulate things. And what you're looking for when you're creating activities that students can work with are things that have different textures, different colors, are different sizes, things that they can actually pick up and do. They can write with chalk. They can put things on a felt board. They can pick up seashells and arrange them in a pattern. This is the kind of thing that they really respond to and they really like. And I do this with my preschool students, not so much with older kids. As they transition into reading, we transition away from the activities. I don't have teenagers in my studio doing a lot of different activities. The older kids, mostly we do playing, although sometimes it is still good to, put out a visual of how chords look or things like that as you go forward as well, even with older students and even sometimes with adults. So now let's get started with the activities. As I said before, at palomapiano.com, I list all the preschool activities I use in a 20-page book that you can get if you're a platinum member. But these activities, I'm just going to show you how to make them and where to get them. They're really easy to find. And I use these in my studio literally every day. So here's the first one. This is the popsicle sticks on the keys one. And where I work at a studio called Thrive Arts in Cleveland. It's really a fantastic place. I also have a home studio, so I have both. But a lot of times we have these events where they get a trial lesson and they're preschoolers. A lot of my kids are coming off kinder music, which is fantastic to begin with. But the parents will come in and they want to see what I do. So this is the very first activity I have my students do. And what I do is I take these popsicle sticks and I put them 3 thick with wood glue, and I cut them before I actually glue them because it's easier that way. Threes, groups of 3s and 2s. So you can see it's like blue is 3 and green is 2. And I'll have the students put all the sticks on the group of 3 and the group of 2 black keys. And then we'll teach them where C is. So it's 1, 2, and C. So they'll do the whole keyboard, and then I'll have them step back and ask, what did you create? And they'll always say a pattern. And then you can kind of talk a little bit about how music is a pattern and start teaching them a little bit about the music alphabet at the first lesson. We do a lot of things with these popsicle sticks. There's lots of fun ways to use them. We can make a letter for each key and then mix them up and have the students, use a little timer and match them to the right keys, or they can pick them out of a pile and put them on the keys. You can make little songs with them and then have them play the songs. There's like endless uses. So when I'm creating an activity, I'm looking for something that I can use a lot of ways because I travel. I don't want to have to bring a suitcase full of stuff. I want everything to be able to fit into my bag, and I want everything to be multi-use, and I want it to have a specific goal. This goal is to teach the students about the patterns on the keyboard and learn the names of the notes and keys. The next activity that I literally use every day, and there's so many things that you can do, is the dice activity. I bought these wooden dice at the craft store, and at Michael's we have here in the US. I don't know where everybody is, or there's Pack-a-Tans. There's all different craft stores, or you could order them online. They're just little 1-inch cubes. And as you can see, some of them have rhythm, some of them have notes. There's only 6 sides and 7 notes, so you have to make multiple note ones. And I always have one that's only just C through G. And then I like these little beads. They're flat on one side, and I got them at the dollar store. I think people put them in fish tanks or they put them in flour things. And, 3.5, 4-year-olds are not going to put them in their mouth. They're not dangerous for them. And the students love them because they're so beautiful, and you can make patterns with them on the keys. So we'll do things like the simplest one is just to roll a dice and take a bead and put it on the key A, or maybe put it on all of the A's on the piano. And then you can change it to where you can roll a dice and a number. So you can put your 3rd finger on A when you roll A3. Then it could be A3 with your right hand. That's what the R is for, because there's R and L. And so right hand 3 on A. And then to take it even one step further, you could say in the treble clef side of the keyboard. So above middle C or below middle C. And then you could add a rhythm. You could say, well, play 4 quarter note A's, or a quarter note and a half note and a quarter note. And you can do it like that. So there's lots of things. And then also I added accidentals, because once they learn a little bit about flats and sharps, they can also play a B natural or a C sharp or whatever. So there's loads of games you can do with this. You can also use the timer, and it works out great. It's easy, it's cheap, and it really, really gets results. So here's just a list of some of the things you can do with the dice. And this is on your cheat sheet, which you can get in the handout section right here. Or it's also posted at palomapiano.com. If you're not a free gold member, you can sign up and get this for free at the website. It's also going to be posted there. The cheat sheet, which kind of gives an overview of everything on here. And then this is the last one I'm going to show today on this particular webinar. And this is the chalkboard. And this is another thing. I even use this with older kids. And I have one that has the treble and bass clef on it. This one just has one clef. And what I did was I spent $5 and I got a little portable chalkboard. And then I took a Sharpie and I drew the staff on there. And it's just endless what we do with this. We can do time signatures on it. Here you can see that I did a rhythm activity where there's quarter notes and they match up beads. Same kind of beads, but I wrote numbers on them for the beats. And they can do that. Sometimes we copy music from their book. Sometimes we do a little name and play exercise where I'll write a note and they have to play it before I write it 10 times. A lot of times I will let them take the chalkboard and write notes and then show them the steps and skips so they can see like C, D, E, F, G, and then we'll erase the F and the D, and they'll see C, E, G, and how on the keyboard it's also C, E, G, and then we skipped over this. So it kind of gives them that hands-on. Most of the kids like the feel of chalk, but one of the things that you have to ask sometimes is if they do like chalk, because I have a few that don't like it, like my little Batman guy from the beginning. He does not like to feel chalk. So for that, we have the same thing, but it's a dry erase board. And the other thing to really, really be careful of is whenever you're making any activity, be sure that it's not going to damage your piano in any way. You don't want to do anything that's going to permanently mark the keys. With the little stick activities that I use, and if I go back a little bit, you can see these popsicle sticks. I make them 3 thick because I did have a few fall into my keyboard at work, which is a really, really nice hybrid Kawai digital piano. And you don't want that to happen. So now I'm just really, really careful that anything I make can't either fall into the keys or won't damage the keys, scratch the wood or the piano in any way. So you want to check that out and test that out because kids are hard on stuff. And if something can go wrong when you're working with preschoolers, it probably will go wrong. And then there's one of my preschoolers drawing his treble clef and writing some notes. And then he's probably going to play them later. That's another way that we just use the chalkboard activity. So more activities like these are available today only. If you sign up today, you'll get the 20-page activity book from palomapiano.com. It's free with everything. When you're a member, platinum members get everything on the website, which is like 1,000 pages of content. And I'm just going to go through quickly and show you a little bit about the website. Some of you are already gold members, so that's great. We have a new platinum membership, so that's something new. When I created this website, I wanted to be able to create something where everything was right there. I have 5 sons, and I can remember being in West Palm Beach and knowing I had a new student and I didn't have a book and it was going to be 30 minutes to run to Chafin's Music Center and get one. And I can remember searching the webs thinking, I just wish I could just get what I need. I don't want to have to run around. There's no method books online. And that's going back. And now I know there are, but they're very expensive. You're going to pay, $15, $20 for one book, and you have to print it out and, get another one the next time you go. So I really wanted to create kind of a one-stop shopping website where I could get everything, or anybody could get everything. And at the time I was working at a special needs school, so I started developing the method for them, and it just kind of grew into this palomapiano.com that it is today. And here's a testimonial for one of my platinum members, Sarah Buckley. She said her lessons are planned. She just prints them out. They're done. Print the copies and enjoy. Her students like the music. It looks great, and she knows she can always go back and get more and even print in a pinch during the lesson, which if your students forget their books is great. And there's a little infographic. It just shows you that, gold members, you get a lot, and platinum members, you get even more. And even more is coming down the pike. You get method books, games, worksheets, over 1,000 pages of resources, and they're all unlimited printing. So while you're a member, you just print whatever you need for your studio. And usually what I do is just have my students pop it into a binder. I actually make books for my students. But the best part is that you can earn money for your studio by using Paloma Piano's music and resources. And my dream was not just to create a website so that I could sell stuff to you, but to create something that teachers could make money. We work hard. We don't get paid a lot. Cancellations, everything like that. Anything that you can do for an extra income stream is always good. And if you use traditional books, you get 10%. And half the time you have to pay shipping, or you even lose money because people don't pay you for them and everything else. So what I do is I charge my students, and a lot of my platinum teachers do this, a $50 or $60 a year material fee. like I said, they're getting everything, their technique book, their theory book, all their supplemental materials, everything is coming from Paloma Piano. Not that there's not other things out there, but you can get everything you need there. And then we just use a binder and they put it in there, and that's how it is. So if you have a studio of 40 students and they're each paying you $50 or $60, that's quite a bit of money. So you can do the math, and it's not that complicated. $60 a year, 40 students, that'll give you enough money to take your vacation. So there you go. And the platinum membership at Paloma Piano is $97 per year. We have a quarterly membership. You can pay quarterly. You're still signed up for the year, but you can do a quarterly payment, or you can just pay less than $100 and you get everything, and everything that's new also at Paloma Piano you also get. So when we come out with new stuff, which I come out with new stuff a lot, and you'll see if you're signed up on the email list, you get that too. But for today's webinar special, we're going to have the platinum membership for $77 for the entire first year. So that offer expires at 3 p.m. today. So if you want to get that, you can jump on and get that right away, and you'll get that $20 off, and you'll get the preschool book as well. So now I'm just going to ask if there's any questions about teaching preschoolers or about Paloma Piano. So you can feel free to type those questions in if you have them.
So I have a question about maybe that other people might be thinking is, when I join Paloma Piano, like do I get charged for that once a year, or can I quit if I need to? Or?
Well, gold members are free, and you can remain free as long as you want. There's no pressure to upgrade to platinum. If you do join the platinum membership, we ask you to stay a member for a year. There's a lot of content, and so it takes you that long to kind of get through it. And the second year it renews, but you can cancel it after the first year. You can cancel. You have 10 days to cancel your renewing membership, so you're not stuck with it if you really don't like it after the first year or you want to get out of it. It's not like a gym membership. We're not going to make you jump through any hoops. You can just send an email, or you can just cancel your PayPal account. The only commitment is the first year. We just ask you to stay in for a year to get the value of the content.
Do I need a credit card to join as a gold member? No,
you don't need any credit cards to join as a gold member at all. And once you pay your membership as a platinum member, you never have to pay for anything else again. Everything is pretty much included. Everything is definitely included in the membership.
I think we have one Q&A question that came up. It says, Shirley Erickson asked, what method book do you recommend?
Well, I use Paloma Piano method books that I use on the website. Book 1, A, B, and C, and the first book of book 2 is there. The first book is all in the key of C and works through all the notes on the treble clef staff. And it moves pretty slowly because I want my students to really have a good chance to read. But I've been using this book, and a lot of other teachers have. It's been around for about 4 years. And when my students get through book 4, they read really well. I used to use other methods, and I felt like when I got through those methods, the kids still couldn't really read the music very well. And we'd have to go back and get another method and another method. And it was unusual for me to get somebody through a whole method series and then be able to put a piece of classical music in front of them and have them be able to read it. So Paloma Piano leaves out all of the gratuitous fingerings, no fingerings where they're not needed. You can always add them if you want, if you're a teacher, but I don't want my kids following fingering numbers, except for the preschoolers. We do a little fingering with the preschoolers, but they're not reading yet. And the music is not babyish. There's not babyish music in there with crazy graphics. It's in black and white, so it's inexpensive to print. And most of all, the engraving looks like real music. It's not super big note stuff like that. So the kids learn it, or the adults, everybody learns, the same method. And it takes folk songs from around the world, not just American music. I really like ethno music. So I try to, put a level of sophistication with my books, and I just use them. And my students really read better than anybody else at my studio who uses the other ones. Just experience and just trial and error, working with my own students and developing the method with actual kids in the actual studio has helped me to do that.
Okay, another question. What else is in the activities book that you showed on the screen there? What do you include in there besides the activities you talked about?
Okay, we have activities, the Popsicle 6 activities, and we have the dice activities. There's activities that I do with different cards. We have a button fingering activity that we use. I use a little timer that I do a lot of activities with that. There's some metronome activities. So it covers like rhythm activities, note reading activities, notation activities, ear training activities, and also technique activities. So those 5 areas that encompass, there's different activities for each one.
Okay, Shirley Erickson also asked, for young 3-year-olds, do you ask the parent to stay in the room where the lesson is being taught?
I try to, yes. Not always. That's the answer is you really just have to feel out the families. I have some. Ideally, I like the parents to be able to stay in and take notes, and then also be able to kind of guide practice at home. Like, we're transitioning these kids in. I'm requiring my preschoolers to do a lot of listening, a lot of outside activities, and only about 5 minutes of practice at the actual keyboard, which grows as they get better. Most of my preschoolers stay in that preschool level from 6 months to a year and a half, just depending on how young. At times, though, a student does not do well with the parent in the room. You know, the parent has to leave because they are either just not adjusting well, or they're too shy, and then when the parent goes, they're less shy. You just kind of have to feel it out. Also, your parents, some parents are not wanting to leave their preschoolers, so I just kind of play it by ear. I have a student now, the one that I showed you on the slide. He comes by himself. At first his parents came, and then he kind of just wanted to come and go on his own. And he's learning. He knows all his notes and keys. He knows how to go home and practice a little song by himself. And he's getting ready to transition into that reading book right now, because he started when he was 3.5, and now he's a little over 4. So he's approaching that 4.5 level. So the answer is just use your judgment. I never tell parents they can't come in a lesson, because I feel like I just wouldn't do that. And I like to have them in there for preschoolers, but sometimes, you know, it's better if the preschooler comes in by themselves. So you're a good teacher. You just use your judgment.
Okay, we have another question. The method book that you talked about, is it only available on your website?
Yes, everything is download and print. I don't do any physical books. I just don't send them out. It's the most inexpensive way to deliver the materials for you. And book 1A, 1B, 1C, and 2A are free right now. So if you're a gold member, you can print those out and use them right away, and they don't cost anything. So if you just want to get a chance to try them. And then if you just want to see what's in the other books, you can look inside and look at all the pieces. And I also have video posted on the video gallery, which is like a preview of, I think they are, or I'll put them up. I have a preview of book 3 and a preview of book 4, which shows you some of the music. Lots of music from around the world, which is, really, really fun for me to arrange for the students. And there's Spanish music, and there's music from all different countries, from Israel and different things like that. I really like doing that. And I really like to kind of bring a little bit of a, something new to the table with that kind of thing. And if anybody ever has music that they love or they like to arrange from their culture, I always love to hear about that. I ask my students, tell me. I have the song, the piece on there now, Muli Hua, and it's free. And I had 2 students from China, and I said, what song do you want to play from China? And they told me about that song. So I actually arranged it for them. And that's also in the free content. So it's more advanced, like later intermediate. But if you like, to hear that kind of music or to be exposed to different cultures, the other thing is I always try to include like something about the piece or something about the country. So they're kind of not just learning music, but they're learning other things as well.
Okay, and we have another question a question from Dee Fisher. She said, I am already a gold member of your website, and I would like to become a platinum member. Can I do that right now, or do I have to wait until the end of the webinar? Is there a discount code to use? Dee, what I can do is, let me just post the link for that in the chat window. Hang on just a second. I gotta get there. So I'm going to post that in the chat area. You'll actually, when you exit the webinar, you're going to go to this location. But if you want to click there right now, that'll take you to the sign up page where you can get the special discount. It's only available on that page, so you need to go there rather than to the other location that is on that has the sign up on the website.
Right. And the other thing is that platinum members, if you, we're going to start doing some meetups. I'm going to do probably twice a month. We're going to do some sharing, like a conference call, because I have some interest in doing that, and I think it'd be fun. And maybe we can pick a topic and we can all like brainstorm on it. And I'm also just really open. Like it's an interactive website. I want to know what teachers want. I want to know what you think. If you like something, if you think someone said, "Well, I love this piece. Can you make a duet for it?" It was on Facebook, and I'm like, "This is a great idea." You know, not everything, you know, is set, so we can always change and we can do different things and take different ideas as well. And so part of it's the training, and part of it's just that I love to write music, so I'm happy to, you know, get out there and share it. And definitely, if you're a member, you know, charge your students that activities fee. They would pay more than that for all those other books, and then print it out, put it in a binder for them, and make that money for your studio. It's yours. That's something I really want to be able to provide for teachers. I've been teaching a long time. It's not the easy job everybody thinks it is.
Well, Dee says thank you very much for the link, and also she says meetups sound great. I'm looking into getting into the preschool market more, and I'm always looking for ideas. So one of the things I wanted to mention is that you can contact Doreen at any time via email. If there are technical issues, there's a button down at the bottom of the site for support. But if you want to reach Doreen, you can reach her at Doreen@palomapiano.net, and I'm going to send that email address, and you can contact her at any time for anything that you might have as far as music questions goes, because she's the but for support questions, you can contact me at the support.
Yeah, if there's any, you know, technical thing you have, my husband's taken over that. Thank goodness, because I'm not so into that. But you can also, it's on the website, on the emails, there's always a contact button. I try to keep my emails to once a week. We're doing a newsletter email now, so you got to read through it. There's just so much always going on. If you're a platinum member, if it says platinum members in your email, that means you're just getting a platinum member email, because sometimes I just send emails out only to platinum members because there's something, you know, going on for platinum members. And also gold members are valued, and I try to also give free stuff to gold members as well. And so continue, and if you like it, you know, share it with your friends. That really helps me out. I really appreciate it. And any questions you have about teaching preschoolers, if you have something come up in your studio, you can find me on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook group yet, but I'm thinking about starting one. But you can always just email me directly, and we can, you know, just get into an email chat. People do that. I really like hearing from all the teachers. It's really awesome.
Well, this has been some really good interaction. Can you think of any other questions that people might be asking?
I can't right now, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll be really, really happy to answer those.
Okay, very good.
All right, well, thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to be getting off to my studio teaching now, and I'm sure you all are too. Have a great week. I hope you all had a happy Halloween, and I'll see you.
Just mention the recording is going to be available afterwards if they want to watch it.
Right, this will be recorded, and anybody who wants to watch it again, you'll be able to get the link to the recording.
Great.
So goodbye, and have a wonderful day.